Welcome back for study number 10 in our study of eternity past to eternity future, God's activity, his eternal plan. And so we left off last time talking about the two lines, the line of Cain and now the line of Seth, who took the place of Abel. And so we saw that from the lineage of Seth, that, by the way, I believe that Eve believes once again that Seth is going to be that promised one from Genesis 3:15, because she says, "Oh, he's given me another son to take the place of Abel." And so I believe she thinks once again that this is that promised child. You see, listen, they are looking for that promised Redeemer, that promised Messiah, ever since Genesis 3:15, all through the Bible. They're looking for him. They think he might be the one. Now, it's not going to be long till we see that he dies. And obviously, he's not the one. Okay? But let's pick back up with this. We saw that at that time that Seth was the father of Enosh. And at that time, people began once again to call upon the name of the Lord. What a great history. What a great testimony. In chapter 5, we're going to read a few of these, maybe down through verse 6 or so. These are the family records of the descendants of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. When they were created, he blessed them. And he called them mankind. Verse 3, Adam was 130 years old when he fathered a child in his likeness, according to his image, and named him Seth. Now, we're following the lineage of Seth now, okay, on purpose. He was 130 years old when he fathered Seth. Adam lived 800 years after the birth of Seth, and he fathered sons and daughters. So Adam's life lasted 930 years, and he died. And Seth was 105 years old when he fathered Enosh. And Seth lived 807 years after the birth of Enosh and fathered sons and daughters. So we see that the population is really growing. Now, another thing I want you to see here, that this is before the flood. This is pre-flood. I want you to notice the ages of these people. 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 years. Wow, that's amazing. Now, after the flood, we see that drastically change to maybe 100 years, or 130, 140 years, something like that. A drastic change. How come? Well, we're going to tell you in a couple of weeks, okay? My opinion. You can study that out as well. But we see this lineage, we see, and now all we see all the way down, let's look verse 21 of chapter 5. Now we see here, not Enosh, but we see here another Enoch. Okay, another Enoch. Remember, the names are similar, they're family, okay? And so some of them's named after one another here. It says in verse 21, Enoch was 65 years old when he fathered Methuselah. Oh, Methuselah. And after after the birth of Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters. Wow. He walked with God for 300 years. I hope that, I hope that my history, I know I'm not going to live 300 years, but I hope that people say, hey, he walked with God all of his years. Now, so verse 25, Methuselah was 187 years old when he fathered Lamech. Okay, another Lamech, not the Lamech of Cain's lineage, a different Lamech. And Verse 26, Methuselah lived 782 years after the birth of Lamech. He fathered sons and daughters. So Methuselah's life lasted 969 years, then he died. 969 years. So a good bit of knowledge for you to keep in your mind is that Methuselah was the oldest person to ever live. We tease people sometimes, say, oh, you're as old as Methuselah. But really, that's just saying you're really, really old, because Methuselah was the oldest person ever lived, 969 years. Here it is in the Bible for you. But I want you to see verse 28. This other Lamech, from the lineage of Seth now, from the lineage of light, not the lineage of darkness, but the lineage of light. Verse 28, Lamech was 182 years old when he fathered a son, and he named him Noah, saying, this one will bring us relief from the agonizing labor of our hands caused by the ground that the Lord has cursed. You see, because of original sin, everyone, the ground is cursed and they are laboring. Lamech lived 595 years after Noah's birth. He fathered sons and daughters. So Lamech's life lasted 777 years. Wow, isn't that interesting? 777. And then he died. Noah was 500 years old. And he fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, he had 3 sons. Now, something I want you to know about this birth of Noah. I believe once again that they believe that he is the promised one. Okay, they believe. I believe once again they're watching for this one that was promises in Genesis 3:15. I believe once again they believe Noah is that going to be that one, from this godly lineage, from these people that follow God and work, and spend time worshiping God and just love God, and they're looking for that one, and they have a history of daddies that are worshiping God, and they name this one Noah. They name him Rest. Noah means rest. Noah means comfort. Noah means peace. They believe he's the one that's going to deliver them. Now, he will deliver them, but not in the way that they're expecting, okay? Not in the way that they're expecting. So let's look to chapter 6 just for a little bit, okay? In fact, we're going to come back and we're going to do the first few verses in chapter 6 in another study. But let's look down and I want you to see how Noah lived for the Lord. Verse 8 says, Noah, however, found favor in the eyes of the Lord. And again, in verse 9, these are the family records of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among his contemporaries. Noah walked with God. And Noah fathered 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Wow. So again, what a great lineage they have here. But what about mankind in general? Let's go back to chapter 6, verse 1. It says, when mankind began to multiply on the earth, and sons and daughters were born to them, the sons of God, underline that, the sons of God saw the daughters of men. They were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. And the Lord said, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever, because they are corrupt. Their days will be 120 years. So does that mean that after the flood, God has promised them 120 years? Or does that mean they have 120 years and then he's going to destroy them? You decide. Okay. In verse 4, the Nephilim were on the earth, both in those days and afterwards, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men, who bore children to them, they were the powerful men of old, the famous men. When the Lord saw that, verse 5, when the Lord saw that man's wickedness was widespread on the earth, and that every scheme of his mind through of his own nothing but evil was all the time, the Lord regretted that he had made them on the earth. He was grieved in his heart. The Lord said, I will wipe off the face of the earth man whom I created, together with the animals, the creatures, the crawling birds of the air, and the birds of the sky. So I regret that I had made them. But Noah, however, found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord, you know the story. The Lord, and we'll get into the flood next time. But the Lord decides, hey, because of this corruption, because of this evilness, they are so evil that anything they do, anything they put their mind to, no matter how evil it is, they will be able to accomplish it. I'm going to start over again. I'm going to wipe them out. I'm going to kill every last one of them. Sounds pretty, meek and mild Jesus here that we always preach that God would never do anything like that. Well, we see God does it over and over again. He judges sin. He is serious about sin. And for somehow, in this time, the world is so sinful and so evil. God says, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to wipe them out. And I'm going to just Noah, his sons, and their families are going to be the only ones. I'm going to keep them. And I'm with them. I'm going to start over again. Wow. So I got a couple things I want you to study out, okay? What was the sin? Something. It must have really been bad. We see that later we're going to see that God will destroy a city, Sodom and Gomorrah, because of their sin. But that's just a city. That's just localized. This is the whole earth. This is a worldwide flood. He's going to wipe out the world. Now I know this just is centralized here. It's not as far as the population is, but he's going to wipe them out. It's going to be a worldwide global flood. Okay, and he's going to kill everything other than those that's on the ark. Now I believe the fish probably lived, right? Because they can swim. But everything is destroyed. The bugs, everything is destroyed. All of it. Besides what Noah takes on the ark. So in that way, he does bring peace. He does bring deliverance. Okay? But what was the sin? It must have been pretty bad. How far was too far? What sin pushed God so far that he says, that's enough? Wow, can we repeat that sin? Because if we can repeat that sin, I want to make sure that we stay far away from that sin, right? What is it? Well, it has something to do here with verse 2, the sons of God, when they saw the daughters of men. Who are they? Well, the sons of God, the daughter of men. Somehow they saw one another and they chose wives for themselves. And they created this race of people called the Nephilim. Who are the Nephilim? Well, we believe that Nephilim were some type of giants, okay? Now, but who are the sons of God? Who are the daughters of men? Now, I know some of you right now, you're about to go start Googling. And I'm going to warn you, you're going to find a lot of stuff. A lot of nonsense. A lot of stuff that's going to, because we have some wackos out there that preach some pretty strange things. You think I preach some strange things. They preach some really strange things. I'm pretty balanced. I believe anyway. But I'm going to give you a couple possible interpretations. There's several, but in my mind, only 2 or 3 really possible interpretations. I'm going to give you probably the 2 possibilities that I waver back and forth. Sometimes I believe it's this, and then sometimes I'll study and I'll go for a while and I'll believe it's that. And so the truth of the matter is, I don't know. Okay? But, so, two possible interpretations is that the sons of God and the daughter of men represent these two different races that we're talking about. When I say race, I don't mean skin color, or I mean that that the lineage of Cain and the lineage of Seth intermarried. And now, W.A. Criswell, who used to pastor FBC Dallas and who started at Criswell College and was very famous for many, many books and commentaries that he's written, he taught this, that this was the ungodly lineage intermarrying with the godly lineage. Now, we've not seen that as a law yet. We'll see later that God says don't marry people from other places. Again, don't be unequally yoked. Again, that's not race. That has absolutely nothing to do with skin color or race. It has everything to do with don't marry an unbeliever. A Christian, even today, a Christian should not marry a non-Christian, because they will take your heart and turn your heart away from God, and will turn your heart onto other gods. And that's that. So W.A. Criswell said that he thought that was the root problem. Well, that's possible. And sometimes I really want to believe that, because the next one is really kind of does something to my mind. Okay? And it's easy to believe that. It's easy to preach that. It's easy to preach that because I still believe that it's a problem today. However, I don't believe it's a big enough problem for God to wipe out the world, for God to destroy the world. And I don't see that would create a whole nother race of a super race of Nephilim giants, So, again, that's a possibility. But the next possibility, and I'm leaving it out here for you to decide, you to choose, you to study, is that the sons of God and the daughter of men, that the sons of God refer to fallen angels. Now, we see that angels are often referred to as sons of God. We talked about that several studies ago, that that angels are referred to as sons of God. Okay, and but so are saved people, sons of God. Okay, and the daughter of men would represent just women, all these people that said, hey, they were born to, they had sons and daughters, they had sons and daughters, they had sons and daughters. And so that theory says that if you're believing that particular theory, you would say that you believe that fallen angels, those demonic angels that was kicked out of heaven, that they came to earth and had relations with humans and created a complete different race, a super human race, a Rosemary's Baby race. And then God says, whoa, no, that's it. That you've gone too far. I'm not going to allow that. I'm not going to allow that. So I'm just going to destroy everything. I'm going to start all over again, and that's off limits. So I don't know. That's a possibility, and it's kind of really my mind. It's just really, it blows my mind to even think about it. Okay, but whatever it is, okay, we're gonna just leave it at this. Whatever it is, mankind became so wicked, so vile, so evil, that God's about to destroy everything living that is not on the ark. God's about to wipe them off and start over again with Noah and his sons and his family. Okay, so really kind of interesting to think about. Okay. Again, verse 11 says, and the earth was so corrupt in God's sight, the earth was filled with violence. God saw how corrupt the earth was, and for all flesh had corrupted its way on the earth. Then God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for all the earth is filled with violence because of them. Therefore, I'm going to destroy them along with the earth. Then he tells them to go and make the ark. Okay. Hey, we'll pick this up again next week. Love you guys. I'm praying for you. I hope you are digging deep into the Word.